It's the ML Sports Platter here all over the major platforms, and I have brought on my good pal, Rob Shafer, the owner of Stumblin Monkey Brewing Company, the official brewery of the ML Sports Platter. You want to talk about a dude who is almost like me. I don't think he'd want to admit that, but we're talking beer, we're talking we're talking beer, Yanks, Cuse, Dave Matthews. But I mean, you and I have, you're better looking than me, but we have the same interests. What's going on, buddy? How are you? Thanks for your support, by the way.
Of course. Yeah, just staying busy with work, staying busy with the brewery, staying busy with the kids and the family, wife, etc. And just yeah.
Yeah, I know. Before we came on camera, we both kind of looked at each other like, life's a zoo. So Stumblin Monkey's got a pretty cool story behind it, the timeline and a little bit of the history. And you guys are into year 8 now. So I just wanted to kind of give you the platform for people who don't know. I know a few of my people have come out and seen you and had a couple of pops and stuff, but this thing's really been rolling. You guys have had a crazy busy 2024. And I know every day that goes by, I know you're grateful thinking back to day one, man.
Yeah, it's we keep growing. We keep making steps in the right direction. And this year, between coaching, a couple baseball teams in the spring, coaching a couple in the fall, and plus travel basketball, we'll be coaching that here just started for my kids. And so we finally took the step and hired a full-time brewer this summer. And Mike Beebe, he's the brewer. He took over that role from me, and he is doing a phenomenal job. Much better resume than I have on it too. So. And then now we're just we're looking for a system. So we thought we were close a couple of times. We thought we had it, and then we're just still shopping some used systems out there. And as we make the next steps with distribution, which we have a handful of accounts so far, and we're looking to get a couple additional ones actually in Syracuse. We have one right now that's our way at Lock 1, but we're looking at a couple more out there here and continuing to grow.
That's great. I know the experience is one thing that you really try, very hard at to have it be A+ for the people who come out. So folks who want to come out, what can they expect?
Great service. That's kind of always the focus of anything in the beer world, right? You go to a nice tap room, it's got to be welcoming. And that's Jeremy as my partner. He handles kind of the ambiance side of it and the decorating. And that's all him. He does a great job with it. And then so my role's always kind of been the beer side and making sure, we have enough stocked up in inventory and, keep coming out with new beers as well. So every time you come back, hopefully you have something new for you to try and keep a nice, well-rounded variety, not just, although IPAs, New England IPAs are what we do, I think the best, but we always have, some kind of light beer, amber ale on there as well. 1 or 2 sours, 1 or 2 dark beers. And on the IPA standpoint, I always love having a West Coast because that is my and Mike's actually too. But so we always have 1 or 2 West Coast IPAs, and yeah,
people love those. I have a lot of buddies who love the IPAs. Shifting now to the Dave Matthews Band, they make the Hall of Fame. You and I have seen each other at multiple shows, and you could say it was long overdue. I do wish they changed the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The name of it kind of, most of them are in the, in the rock and roll genre, but that's what they call it. But man, you go through the years and, Leroy passed and Boyd's not in the band anymore, but they're still crushing. I know you've seen them recently the last couple of years. Pretty cool moment. I actually talked to Jeff Coffin yesterday. I'm trying to get him back on the show. And man, so deserved. And through the years, the different albums and how they've changed and, how they've kind of gone through the times. And you and I have listened to those guys for decades. And it was pretty cool to see them go in, man,
It was cool too. I grew up with parents that were parrot heads, and this thing Pirate at 40 with the Jimmy Buffett thing and the intro of the Hall of Fame too was super cool.
Yeah. Dave definitely loves, the musicians before him and the tributes and all that. We're talking with Rob Shafer here from Stumblin Monkey, a proud Platter supporter. Make sure you head on over there and visit their website as well at stumblinmonkeybeer.com. You can pick up some cool gear. You see, we geared up for the segment as well. Rob's got the cool shirt, the cool hat. I got my stuff here, even more in the closet. Let's shift off here. I wanted to get some live look-ins at you during some Syracuse basketball games this year, huh?
We've made it to one so far, so we'll have to connect up the next one.
Yeah, no doubt. Falling off your seat yet, or what?
We should not be double overtime against Youngstown. They moved the ball, they scored, but I don't know. They're a frustrating team right now. Although I think it's promising what's to come.
That overtime was crazy, though, the first overtime where, you get into OT and you kind of say, okay, beginning of the year, NIL portal, I'll get to more of that in a second. But you're up 8 with, 119 or so left to go. And that was the point where you're like, okay, like that's probably going to be it, but it wasn't it.
No, they let them back into it again. And then they ran off and they ended up winning by 7, I think, end of the day, and scored 104.
Yeah, JJ Starling was unreal in that game, almost scored 40, and attacking the rim was terrific. I think him and Lampkin could be terrific inside out. It does help, I think, to have Carlos at point guard, because it seems to me when an actual play gets called out, he runs it.
He does. I like him on offense. He's a little frustrating on defense. I feel like he's getting a little lazy at points.
Yeah.
Reaching calls, that kind of thing. But Lampkin, I love Lampkin. The way he moves really well on offense. He has great vision. Some of the passes he made really threw me off guard. I knew he was a good big man, right? I think in Colorado, if I remember, transfer. But I mean, I'm thinking like, I don't think we've had that good of a big man since like a Ton Thomas. Not to knock any guys in between, but and he's not shot blocking like Thomas used to. But that we had that presence down low, an offense and defense combination. I think he's doing a super good job so far.
Yeah, and another layer to him too is that he's played in tournament games. And so I think when you go later in the year, where if you're on the bubble and you're in these 2-3 point ACC games and you need a bucket, or you're tied or you're up 2-3 with one possession to go, you get one more bucket, it can seal it. He's a guy who knows how to get points. He can score. He's a guy who knows how to make the play, the basketball IQ late in the game. I think that goes a long way as well. Q's football, obviously, as we record this, they got UConn on Saturday, and then Miami one more game. I had them 8-4 to start the year, but the energy up there is real, man. With Coach Jack on the women's hoop side and Red Autry with the men's basketball and Fran Brown with the football, and they're flipping a lot of scripts. And I know that BC and Stanford were inferior opponents, fine, but Stanford just beat Louisville. SMU got challenged by BC. You know what? You're going to lose a couple of those, but then they beat NC State and UNLV, which a lot of fans didn't see. I mean, you got to feel pretty good. I mean, 7-3 in November. This is SU football. This is really happening, Rob.
Yeah. No, do we have 3 ranked wins or is it 2?
Yeah, 2. A couple of ranked wins. Yeah.
Close and honest, but yeah, I mean, it's again another sport heading in the right direction. They're fun to watch. We went to one game early in the year, and it's just the energy in the dome was awesome.
It's different. Yeah.
Even like with the new seats in there, it makes it look a lot cool. And you obviously lost some capacity, but the energy is fantastic. And I think around the area is getting into it. The student section looks energized, and it's just been a lot of fun.
No doubt. Stumblin Monkey Brewing Company, the official brewery of the Platter. The owner here, Rob Shafer. A couple more for you. The Yanks made the World Series this year, something we didn't expect. I can't stand Brian Cashman, and so it was a very weird spot for me because I'm thrilled they're in the World Series. They took advantage of, the Guardians and the Royals, good teams, but no offense. I mean, they were exposed playing the Yankees. And the Yankees get in the World Series, and they're exposed against the Dodgers, and a Cashman roster just comes out. And you and I are texting all the time about sports. I don't know if it's you starting it or if I started. And if you text me, you're in trouble because I might go on a while. But long story short, it was nice to see him in there, but then you're like, and then those 2 brutal losses. I mean, brutal losses. In games 1 and 5, especially 5, where you're up 5-0. Cole doesn't get the first base. Judge has the drop. Errors all across the board. Might have been the worst defensive team in a World Series in the history of the game. I felt like they kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit getting to that fall classic, man. I really, I think sometimes some things fell their way too,
Yeah, when you run the bases that poorly.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. Were they last in the league?
Yeah, by the way, that's another thing. Running the bases and the defense, both of those together, it was just it was brutal, brutal.
Yeah, I mean Torres especially, he was just one of the worst base running, players I've seen in a long time. Sure. Throughout the whole season, there's always something he would do. And whether it's him, whether it's on the third base coach, especially in the World Series there, it just you get some boggling decisions, some kind of baseball 101 things that we're teaching these kids in Little League. And we are in the bigs, and they're sending people. They're running and pushing it when there's no need.
Yeah, and plus that's unfortunately that's a lot of the analytic world that we're in. There's just not fundamental coaching. There's not a Joe Girardi's a manager. He's hammering these guys, but that's why he's not the manager, because Aaron Boone's in there and they just kind of let players play and whatever. And you got your own brand and you play your own way.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to touch you. And we're worried about launch angle, and the lineups are coming from the general manager office. And that's the game today. And that's part of the frustration from my end, for sure. By the way, back to SU basketball for a quick second. I got off the rails. I forgot to add to what you said in terms of going to double OT with Youngstown and all that. I see all these people on social complaining, SU fans, about, the program. Remember when we used to beat Colgate by 50 plus and this and that? Rob, the NIL portal world and just gathering rosters and all, it isn't 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago anymore. And really any sport, but especially college sports with football and basketball, it's free agency with new rosters across the board. There's talent everywhere. There's money in spots, big or small. There's still money. Lemoyne's D1 now. They come up to Syracuse, almost knock them off. There's talent everywhere. You can find guards everywhere. You can find big men everywhere. Every forward area you look, somebody's 6'8", 6'9", and can run the floor like an antelope. These SU fans have got to get a grip here, man. You're not going to probably beat Colgate by 50 ever again. This is not 1996, man, Goodness.
Yeah, you look at it, like I said, it's college basketball these days. A lot of 3-point shooting, and we are lacking, I think, from downtown. And Colgate's what they do. It's mid-major basketball.
Pass cut, shoot it. Yeah.
Basketball. They're moving the ball and they're shooting.
Yeah.
And, you're going to slow down the game a little bit that way typically. And if you're not hitting your high percentage shots, if you're not scoring, it's going to be a close game. It's just what it is. And also, like you said, like we have all these transfers, the portal. You have 3 role players that all transferred in.
Yeah.
They're different systems, different style offenses that they've been coming from. These boys need to mesh. And I think to come out with these wins, as frustrating as people are with not blowing out Colgate, not blowing out Youngstown. And I'm one of those people, but I do understand. But when you get into ACC play, you have to click.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's just so many layers to it. Like guys come from another area. Maybe they're used to being the go-to guy and they want the ball all the time. Now they're maybe the third option. And then you have different cultures and players and styles, this and that. And Red wants to run. And so there's going to be more leaks that way as well. I know you're swamped. I got you for another minute here. If you're bringing somebody to Stumblin Monkey for the first time, they like everything. They'll drink all of it. What are you putting down, though? What are you putting down? You putting down a flight of what for in a flight? You giving them a pint first? How are you working them in here? What are you treating them to? If they like it all, what are you putting down first?
As myself as a drinker, I'm not a big flight guy, but if you want to try everything, right, that's how you kind of got to roll into it. I'm going to come in with right now a Southside Pilsner. It's a nice, refreshing, crispy light beer with a Nelson Sauvin dry hop. And then I'm going to jump into I'm going to go my West Coast. I love my West Coast IPA. I think we have 90 West. It's like a 6.5%.
Okay.
Right now with Amarillo and Citra and Simcoe, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that, but it's a fantastic beer, super clean, super crispy. And just a perfect balance of citrus and bitterness kind of going on with it. And then I'll jump to a hazy with our flagship, Crazy for Hazy, Galaxy Citra. And I'm going to finish off with a dark beer. I love dark beers myself. And we have like a 10% Imperial Stout on Nitro. And it is absolutely fantastic.
Well, listen, everybody's got to get there, man. People love traveling through New York State to check out the craft beer scene. You can go to stumblinmonkeybeer.com for more information. Victor, New York, School Street, part of the great city of Rochester. My man, good friend, owner of Stumblin Monkey Brewing Company, Rob Shafer, huge sports fan, DMB. Like I said, we have a lot in common, and I wanted to get you on the show. It's been a long time coming. Thanks for your support of the platter. We'll talk to you soon. Life's crazy. It's either going to be a text during a game, I'll see you at a Dave show, or we'll do another one of these. But either way, man, you know I'm coming for you. Thanks, buddy.
Well, random ESPN games, too, when you're at them.
Oh, yeah, those too, of course. Maybe I'll just run into you at the Dome, of course. How could I forget that? Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you, buddy.
Right. Thank you, man.